That's one.
Move the trees.
Now I don't have to my camera doing. It's good, wasn't it? Stop. Yeah, that's coming up all right.
Wash you, make you clean, pull away the evil of your doings before mine eyes sees the doing. Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, and plead for the widow. Come now, let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat of the good of the land. But if ye refuse and rebel, ye shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Come now, let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. Come now, let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool.
Right, who's got something they'd like to share with us? I know Peter's got something he's going to share with us. Don't make Peter go first. Nobody had anything happen for them. The Lord hasn't done anything for us this week. Isn't that amazing?
I do want to share a minor thing.
Thank you, Ruben.
We're told to all things to give thanks. This gratitude is the completion of the circuit of beneficence, completes the law, our thanks to our Heavenly Father. And I had this event, it was it's minor in the big scheme of things, big to me. I had ordered something from eBay. It was actually shea butter because I wanted to make up some things for skincare and so on. And I had accidentally put in the wrong address on my account, a previous address up in Darwin, which is where I'm not. and no one that I know lives there, which is problematic. And so I only found this out when the parcel was on its way, and because of the way that it was sent, there was no way that Australia Post could intervene to redirect it. It was basically, it's just going where it's going. And I spoke to a gentleman, and he said to me, if you get an opportunity to have a notification come to you when it's actually got into the final, distribution place where it's going to get sent out, there's a possibility there they can have a special feature in Australia Post to then redirect it to another post office. And so I prayed, because I thought, well, I don't really know how else to do this. And it came in on the day I got a notification, but the notification wasn't that it came to the distribution centre. It actually came in to say that it was already on the vehicle on destination to where it was going, and it was just going to be delivered off, because the person who had sent it ticked the box that said you can just drop it. So it was just going to be dropped off with who knows who, and I was never going to see it. So I thought, oh well, I'd resign myself. But I made a phone call to Australia Post, and this lady I spoke to was really, really helpful, and she actually sent a direct message through to the Winnelly Darwin post office distribution centre, and they contacted the driver who kept the parcel on board and then redirected back in the post office, and it would come down here. And I was just praising Father, because it was a minor issue. Like I said, it wasn't a big theological breakthrough, but for me it was like, when he says in Matthew 10, the very hairs on your head are numbered. For me, this was something minor in the big scheme of things, but it showed me just how important we are to him in the little things, that he cares for those. So I just wanted to praise Father for that, and it's on its way down here, so I'm rejoicing.
But the big thing is you stay calm. You trusted your Father. That's big. So it's Thursday afternoon, and I'm looking at the lawn out here, and it's pretty high, and I'm thinking, I asked my wife if we got someone coming, because the mower we have is a bit busted at the moment. But anyway, yesterday I thought I'll ring Liam, and I'm on my way over, and Liam races home, grabs his mower, so you can thank Liam for all the lovely lawns. And I thought of the verse, before you call, I will answer. So thank you, Father, for wanted to have the lawns nice for you all when you arrived. So try and have it all nice and trim and everything like that. So I was saying thank you, Father, for Liam last night. That was not only mowed the lawn, whippersnipped everything, did it, blew everything away. It's just top job. So thank you. All right, who's next? Daniel. Daniel had his first piano lesson this past week.
Wow.
Yes. So he's pretty happy about that. Very good. Sorry, Peter, I'm trying to...
I'm just wondering about Google.
Okay, you want to hang out? All right. No worries, that's fine. Do you want to come up? Can you come up? Thank you, Norel. Bless you.
I've only got a little short story to tell, and this is to do with Brian. On Thursday, I was walking my dogs, and we come back. I bent over, I stood up, my back, and I was supposed to be working on Friday, but I know the Lord has let this happen, because yesterday we were in preparing the paper for Brian for today. And that was meant to be, because the Lord is blessed in our lives. He uses all circumstances to bring forth His glory. And today, His name is being glorified through His.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, I thank the Lord.
Have you had any news from Brian today yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We'll catch
Keep
up.
you informed. Another one of Ruben's minor stories. We got a new phone for Laurel, and it's playing up, so I'm going to send it back. We couldn't find the box to send it back in, so we didn't worry about it for a few days. We let it go for a few days, and then But okay, we can't find the box. What do you do? Well, we just knelt down and we prayed, didn't we? Within a few minutes, I had it. I stored it somewhere in my office, and it was in a box somewhere, and just every time I ask my Father, there's no need to stress. He always provides your needs, and if he doesn't supply it straight away, there's a good reason why he's not supplying it. But when we were looking for the box before, and the phone was still trying to download something, and it wasn't. So I had to go to the post office and leave it behind, and then for some reason the new phone that Laurel was using wasn't ready, so it was just as well we didn't send it to the post office because you need it for another couple of days. So it just, all things work together for good. So just making life easier when you don't have to stress. You can ask your Father anything and he'll help you and he'll bless you. And I'm getting a much higher hit rate with thinking, just pray about it, don't stress about it, just pray about it. It's a real blessing. All right. Well, sorry folks, no one wants to talk to you, so we're going to... Oh, Rowan!
I didn't really want to be up here in front of the live stream, but anyway, here I am.
I'm here with you, Bronnie.
Yeah, it's nice to be reminded of the small things. Thanks for getting that ball rolling, Reuben, because so many little things happen in our lives and we forget to stop and thank God, or don't actually, well, I guess in this setting I hadn't remembered what happened just last night to me. We went to bed a little later than we would have liked to because we were both extremely tired, which is quite normal on a Friday night. And I woke up, so we were in bed before 10, but I woke at, I don't know, about 12, and I was wide awake. Okay, this is not good. I need to sleep. And I was probably awake for half an hour or so, and not wide awake all the time, but I just was aware that I wasn't going back to sleep. And so I thought, no, this can't be. I really want to be here today, and if I don't sleep, I won't get myself together in the morning. So I just thought, okay, I just prayed, God, you can put me to sleep just like that. I know you can. You've done it before, and you know, there's little nagging doubts, especially if anyone's suffered with a little bit of a problem in this, going to sleep. Once you've had a bad experience, the mind won't let you believe that this can happen. You kind of, you start working against yourself, and you start second guessing, well, you know, last time I prayed this, maybe God didn't hear me. I mucked up anyway. I ate something that I shouldn't have, and that's why I'm not sleeping well.
So you don't deserve to sleep.
So I don't deserve to go to sleep.
That's right.
So you have all these excuses as to why that prayer shouldn't be answered. And but this, I knew I had to override that, or I was going to be awake a lot of the night. So I just said, Lord, I know that you can do this, and I'm just completely just falling in your arms, and this is going to be okay. I trust, even though I don't feel like I'm about to go to sleep, I trust that I will go to sleep. So next thing I knew, I'd been asleep and I was awake again, and this was now 3:30. And I thought, well, that was good. That was really good. I did go to sleep, and I slept quite well. But I'm awake again. So I thought, oh no, this is not good. I don't know if this is going to happen I've had it happen before, but just once a night. This is going to be 2 times in the night I have to do this. So I thought, and closer to morning, less likely that the melatonin levels would be low enough to get me back into a sleep. So, okay. If I stay awake now, I won't sleep again till 6 o'clock, and then it's over. I won't get up. So I thought, okay, did the necessary, bathroom trip and all that. And okay, God, this is you're gonna have to come through again for me. This really has to happen. I really want to be at church tomorrow, and
I think we know the answer.
yeah,
Did you hear?
yeah. So but again, the doubts, just, you know, it's so close to morning, and just all the little reasons why this can't happen. But I just, I want to really, it's a small thing in the big scheme of life, but I really thank God that He's interested in those small things and that He cares for us.
Amen.
And I'm very grateful for it. It wasn't a great sleep, but it was enough to get me through and to be here this morning.
Hallelujah. That's not small. Not in the Evans household.
Since I'm already up here, many of you know that I had quite a bad fall over Christmas. It happened at Widgie. We've had a crow problem there, where they actually picked out every single screen in the whole house, in the amenity block, in the garage. And so Craig had fixed all that up, and we were staying up there during the Christmas break with my parents. And we just arrived the night before, and we were very tired. It was a late night, and I woke up to the sound of a crow. And if anyone knows me, I'm very reactive, so I was out of bed and I was shooing that crow.
Gonna stone the crows, eh?
I was very worried about the fate of screens. So I know I was not properly awake, and I shooed that one. I looked out into the living area. I could see there was a crow actually pecking at the back screen. So I went and shooed that, and when I went out that door, I could hear a crow up in the laundry. So I thought, I'm going to get that crow. So I ran up those of you who've been there, you know, there's a slope up to the laundry, and there's a little lip on the step into the laundry. And I don't have any memory of what happened. I just know next thing I was face down the concrete. And I thought I had concrete in my mouth, but it was my teeth. I'd broken off my teeth. And so I got myself up and I went inside and woke Craig up and showed him my mouth, and we both freaked and went to the bathroom to see the damage. And that's when I realised, it's not just my mouth, it's my foot as well. And I'd actually broken my toe. I don't have any memory of hitting myself. From a few seconds before impact to face in the concrete, I can't even now recall what happened. But my foot was obviously, the big toe was bent right back around on itself. The bruising was tremendous for probably a month. Very black, my foot. And we never did get x-rays of the ribs, but I think I might have bruised or cracked a rib because I had a couple of days of very intense pain there. So I just am very grateful to God, because it could have been far, far worse. As far as externals, there was just a few scratches and grazes, nothing, no blood anywhere. And my recovery, actually it was a real blessing. I really, really needed a rest. So I lay on the bed for 2 weeks, did nothing. We had Yvonne with us. She came partway through. So Mum and Craig and Yvonne, and they kept the household running, and I had a nice rest. And I didn't have to, I knew I couldn't get up and walk on my foot. So, Craig had to do everything, but I got a rest. So I was really grateful for that. And I'm very grateful that the injuries weren't worse. And even though I was tempted to go to the hospital and get it checked, I thought, well, I really don't want to sit in the outpatients department all night. So we never did that, and I'm pretty well fully recovered. So I was very grateful that I think the angels kind of just let me down gently enough that, yes, there was some damage, but it could have been a lot worse. So I thank God for that.
Praise God. Okay. Lorraine.
Thank you. That reminded me that I had a story about not being able to sleep and a fall as well.
There you go.
Yeah, and that a couple of years ago that Pete and I and another son from Emerald and that were giving out great controversies in Longreach. They had a tent there and during the night I tripped over the tent thing. One of the ropes and I couldn't breathe and I had pain all down on the sternum and that and I couldn't lie down. I had to go out to the car and sit up all night in the car and that so that I could breathe, and anyway the next night came around and I was thinking because of the pain I'd go back out to the car and the thought came to me in that why don't you stay and lie down and I'll give you rest. And I waited and pain kept on and it was pain and more pain and I thought I have to go back out to the car and I can't stand this pain anymore and I thought no, you promised me rest, and after that I never another thought I just fell asleep straight away, So I'm, God keeps His promises, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Amen. I had a situation yesterday where I was going to get that cable that's hanging out of the camera there. I was up at Browns Plains, and I was coming up to Bunnings, and there was this big ambulance there, and I looked across and there was this guy out cold on the ground. The paramedics were there and they're working on him. And as I'm driving past, I said, Father, please look after this gentleman. Please may your angels be there and look after him and help him. And I was in the shop for about 10 minutes. And then I came back and I drove back. And as I drove back and I looked across, he was sitting on the bench and a number of people were standing around him. He had colour in his face. I could see all that in a split second. And the thought comes into my mind, would that have happened anyway, or was it because of your prayer that he's sitting there? So I know the answer to that question. So, because would our Father hear my prayer, and would he... It was a fairly quick turnaround in terms of being out cold like that, and he was sitting and talking. I just saw that as I drove past, that he was sort of like a bit stunned, and I thought, wow, what if I hadn't have prayed? So it's always good to pray for those things. Gavin?
Afternoon, everyone. Most of you know where I work in aged care, and there's a lot of opportunities to bless people in the aged care industry. And my role as a maintenance man is not so much hands-on with the residents, but with everything that's around the residents, from the floor to the ceilings and above. But as Christians, we have the privilege of being prompted by our Father, don't we? His Spirit works in and through us, and just sometimes those moments happen in my day-to-day routine where just something will come to my attention, and I just feel drawn to be a blessing. And I got two stories with one particular resident that I'll share. Probably 6 months or so back, might even be 12 months, it's quite a long time ago. There's one lady and she's got multiple sclerosis, and her condition has been for a long time that she's just stuck in bed. We've had to get a specific, even a pendant, because she can't push a button. So we've got to get a touch pad for her, which they position just in a particular place under her hand. So the slightest bit of movement sets off the buzzer. That's about as much as she can do. Her head doesn't move. When she first came years ago, she could talk, and now she can't talk anymore. And yeah, say 12 months ago, I was walking around and we had the beautiful bird paradise flowers that were out, and I thought, just prompted, I'm going to cut some and put in a vase and take to her room and give her some flowers, because I never see visitors in her room during the week. They may come on weekends, I don't know, but I never see visitors during the week while I'm there. And yeah, so I asked the boss for a vase, and she managed to get a vase for me. We put the flowers, and I went to her room, and I said, Jean, I just felt like giving you some flowers. I know Min, those of you that know Min, know that if she's working in that wing, she'll go and sing Jesus Loves Me, this I know, with her. And she's told me that, so so I just cut her some flowers, put in her room. I said, I hope you like these, and she smiled. And for Jeannie to smile, I mean, that's a huge thing, because she's in such a condition that she's often grumpy. She's often not happy, especially with the nurses, because they just can't make her comfortable. Imagine being just laying in one position all your life, day after day, not being able to, I've got a bad back, I'll just roll, nothing. Just sitting there being totally dependent upon other people. And so to have the flowers, she smiled at me and she just, thank you, as best she could. That was 12 months ago. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was called to her room because the pad buzzer, this touch pad, kept going off. I said, it's constantly going off. And I received the phone call, so I thought, I know what that'll be. So I went around to the room, and by the time I got there, they'd already fixed what the issue was, because the pad just wasn't in the right place, and just any unintentional movement was setting it off. So it was going to buzz, They come in, check what's going on, cancel it at the wall, walk out the room, buzz, go back in, cancel it. Anyway, so they fixed it by the time I got there. And so all the nurses left except for Ken. Ken was still in the room. And I walked in, and I, having come all the way from my office, I walked into the room and she was there. So I thought, go over and say g'day to Jeannie. And so whenever I say hi to her, I always go up and I just touch her on the top of her arm, just up there. How you going, Jeannie? She sort of just turns her eyes at me and sort of looks. And I said, has your family been to see you lately? She just sort of looked, you could just see the movement, like, no one's been to visit. I said to her, well, we're your family, we'll look after you. And she sort of, little smile, wasn't overly impressed, I guess. And I said to her, boy, have you drawn no, what did I say? I said, you've dipped out badly, haven't you? I said, imagine having me as a brother now. Then that brought a smile to her face. And she said, I said, I guess not too bad. I said, my two sisters and brother have put up with me for all these years and it hasn't been too bad. So, but anyway, I'm your brother, and, just let you know that we love you. And then I went to walk off, and then just something just triggered. I said, can I give you a kiss on the forehead? And she just, that brought her like that. Because I thought, when was the last time she got a cuddle or a kiss from anyone? The only touch she gets is from the nurses rolling her over, toileting, the things that you do, a bath, sponge bath or whatever. And so I asked her, and Ken was in the room, so there was a witness there, so I wasn't stepping beyond, what was appropriate. And protocol, yeah. So I said, can I give you a kiss on the forehead? And she, yeah. And so I leaned over and I just gave her a kiss on the forehead, and the tears just started streaming down her face. It's like, I just thought, thank you, Jesus, that I had that opportunity. And I said, so, blessings to you, Jeannie, and I'll see you again. So then I walked out the room. So it's nice just to be used by the Lord to touch somebody, even as a maintenance man.
And that's what I call maintenance. Make us all cry. As I work, I get reports from different countries, and I won't mention his name because we're online. And but one of my friends in the region of South Africa, who was working with us, he wrote to me and he said, "I have new purpose, new meaning in being able to share these materials with people here in South Africa." And knowing his story, that was wonderful, getting that feedback from him. He's really fired up. Yeah. So it's really, really exciting to see people's lives being turned around by aspects of this message and the desire to reach out. Anybody else?
I'll just say something briefly too.
Yep.
Bronwyn wanted me to share this in relation to sleep. He says, I'm happy to hear.
Oh no, just the quotation.
Okay. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, makest me to dwell safely. Where is it, Psalms?
Yeah, it's a sound like you'd have to look up the reference.
Yeah. Well, as Bronwyn and Lavanya came in with this, you know what they are? It's a what?
That's it. That's
It's a
it.
white
It's a white
flower.
flower.
It's a gardenia, and the smell of it is just beautiful. But it's the scent that's the most attractive part to it. And our Father made this for us. And I was with a good friend this week who had his birthday, and someone had given him flowers. I thought it was beautiful. I really do. Because flowers are something that are for us, not just for the ladies, they're actually for all of us. And yeah. And I love flowers. I love roses. I love all sorts of flowers. But we've got a tree that's flowering at the moment, a firewheel tree, a Queensland firewheel tree. You know what they are? It's got a red, a bit like a grevillea flower, if I can say that type of. But it's in a ring, just like a little wheel, and it's just a flaming red flower. It's beautiful, and the birds love them, like the grevilleas. But again, our Father, these just don't happen. Our Father's put each one together, from the very delicate little flowers that you've got to get down, magnify, to the beautiful big flowers like the bird of paradise that Gavin mentioned. And some of them have such exquisite perfume. And I just want to give thanks to our Father for these beautiful things.
Amen.
Also just want to share, we had the privilege of saying goodbye to an old friend of Gavin and ours, Dave Tasler, his name was. He's a Dutchman. He got in his 90 and a half years of age. He unfortunately had dementia for the past 4 or more years. But it was nice to catch up with his daughters, particularly one daughter that we knew, Daniela, and his wife, Dulcie. And yeah, we hadn't seen them for a long time. And they were people that we knew from Sherwood days, when we used to go with Gavin there. But yeah, it was sad in many ways to say goodbye to someone, but it was encouraging to see this man lived his life as a, I guess you'd say, as an Adventist. His wife is a Roman Catholic, but they showed such respect to him. It was beautiful to see, particularly his daughters, how they treasured the memories of their father, and that was a great blessing. See someone who honours their father and was blessed by their father. That's what a beautiful legacy. I just want to thank Father for that.
Amen.
Craig, there's a thing that Ellen White says that every flower is an expression of the love of God.
It is. Thank you, Fiona.
The verse that I often quote from is in Psalms 127, I think it is. For he giveth his beloved sleep. It's one that I've quoted many times, travelling around the world. And the Lord has been very gracious in that aspect, which is, we were talking to our friend Sharon, who's at Talking Rock Sabbath Chapel, but she was over in California, and she was kind of three hours out of her time zone, and so that was kind of affecting the sleep pattern, and it's going, yes, we know a little bit about that. So. Any other, Liam? Are you motioning or are you just moving? Oh, okay.
Your cues come.
They're all waiting now.
Not everyone at once. I read a couple of stories, and it was reminded me
from what Ruben was talking about, like the little things. Wasn't it Thursday, 3 or 4 days ago, Thursday, the week before, I got home from work and I got a little selection of snacks, like just got some pumpkin kernels, almonds and walnuts and whatnot. Have a bit of munch on them in the afternoon. Grabbed a handful of almonds, threw my mouth, bit down, and had this sharp pain come in, like back of wisdom tooth area. And I know that my wisdom teeth have come through kind of sideways, so there's a lot of gum that's kind of above the tooth, but the tooth has made its way out. So it's weird looking at it, trying to see it. And I think I had a look in the mirror, and I could see a bit of white. And I thought, oh, I've broken the gum and the tooth's going to come out because it was sore. And then I'll go to another story. I'll come back to that one.
We're sort of hanging now.
Oh yeah. It takes a week for the
Okay, all right. So we're going to go through the pain with you.
Yeah, of course. So put that on the shelf. Friday night came around, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do for Sabbath. I knew that I had Pathfinders the next day, which I know some people wanted me to kind of be involved with and be a part of at Park Ridge Church. But I'm not. I want to be committed, but I don't want to be committed because I know there's a fair few weekends I'll then lose, and opportunities like coming to a place like here on a Sabbath is then also thrown a little bit out of chance because I need to go do Pathfinder meetings with other stuff which I'm not fully committed to doing, but I want to be there for kids and stuff. So I texted the director and said, do you need me? He said, it would be good to have you. I'm like, yeah, well, I won't say no to that, but this is where I'm at. He's like, yeah, that's fine. You do without me? Yes. Like, cool, I won't come then. Not like that, but I was messaging a friend that some of you know who lives up near Kingaroy, and she's going through a bit of a tough time. And when I say friend, I have a lot of friends that are twice my age and a little bit more sometimes. I still call them friends, like all you. I class you all friends and family.
Some of us are 3 times your age.
You're making me sound old now.
Who's making who sound old?
Yeah, well, 3 times age. You're making me sound old. That'd be the case. You're only young. I'm trying to help you out. She lives up in Kingaroy. She lives up near Kingaroy, and she's going through a bit of a tough time. Soon to be divorced, I think, and her daughter also is going through a bit of a tough time breaking up with her boyfriend, who she now has a child with. Which I only found out the Sabbath before when I was here, because I called her and spoke to her for half an hour or so. Didn't know she'd broken up with him and all this. So I went up there on Sabbath morning. I don't like travelling on the Sabbath. It's not something that I necessarily agree with, but I was talking to Adrian about it maybe mid last year, and he was saying, like, what's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of you travelling if you're going to travel on Sabbath? If you're going to eat blessed or try and be blessed, or it's a bit different if you just go simply just to try and use the Sabbath to travel from destinations to destination. And I thought, I'm going there for her sake to try and make her Sabbath a lot more of a better experience than what it would be to be left at home with her husband that's not the nicest, and also whoever else was there. I don't know who else was there. So I messaged her on Friday night and said, do you like surprises? Would you be happy if someone was to come up and see you? Oh yes, you can come. I said, hey, I didn't say I was coming.
Didn't you?
Well, of course I was alluding to it, but didn't say it specifically. So I went up there on Sabbath morning. I left at about 7 o'clock, I think it was, and it's a 3.5 hour drive, or ride for me because I rode the bike. And before I left, obviously I prayed. I thought it's a long journey, there's a lot of kangaroos and whatnot in Australia. And it's weird, I don't understand why people put road signs in Australia saying, kangaroo next 4 kilometres, and like the whole of Australia's kangaroos, it's not just the next 4 kilometres, stuff like this. But
Kangaroos can't read.
yeah, exactly. They don't know just when to come out, and there's spots that's been designated by the council. And my whole entire ride up, I needed to stop for fuel, but I took fuel, so I didn't have to get on Sabbath. It's like, sweet. I didn't see a kangaroo that was alive. I saw 2 kangaroos that had been hit previously, and they were decomposing on the side of the road, but no kangaroos. Nothing jumped out in front of me. Had a close call with 2 birds. A close call, on a bike, it's different to cars, but it was kind of close. Not really serious. I thought, there was a big answer to prayer.
Amen. It is.
And the way back was the same. Didn't see anything. It was on evening when I was coming back the next time, so it was a lot more chance of seeing or hitting something, and nothing. It's the same bird, a couple of birds, silly birds. But yeah, I went up there and I just had a good time. I took clothes, not expecting to stay the night, but in case I was to stay the night. And sure enough, they offered to me to stay the night, which I did. And managed to talk to her daughter as well, and hopefully encourage her. Especially, throughout the week I've been messaging her as well, and she said about a few things. You know, I won't forget that. It's one of the nicest things people said to me in a little while, and just trying to show her that can be life a little bit better. She's kind of drifted a bit and was on her way, kind of coming back towards God. And then on Wednesday or Tuesday night, just gone. I didn't sleep at all. I was awake all night. I struggled a bit like Bronwyn with sleep. We're sleepless buddies. So I went to bed Tuesday night. I had a cornetto, which I don't normally have. It was a bit of ice cream. So
Oh, there's the reason.
There's the reason. Yeah, I had some ice cream, had some sugar. I thought no. And as I was eating it, I thought, oh, I might not sleep tonight. Exactly. This could be a bit of a placebo. But this is the consequence.
I'll punish myself now.
I will, yeah. So I was awake all night, didn't sleep at all. And Wednesday morning, I wasn't working Wednesday, which is fantastic, because Tuesday was one of the hardest days of St. Reuben's. I was in a roof, it was like 53.4 degrees. My boss put a thermometer up there. He doesn't normally do that, we just decided to this time. Looked at it and I'm like, okay, it's very hot. And it was very hot.
Legal?
That's what my dad said when I told him, but
Don't know if that's legal.
I can tolerate heat. It's not not for that long. Anyway, I was okay, thank God. He definitely kept me, and nothing bad happened. I was only out there for a short period of time, a couple of times, so that was good. Hot, big, tough day, then didn't sleep. Wednesday morning came around, and I did myself a big list because I, was sleeping, so I thought I was making enough list of things I need to do, or think I need to do, and now that I have the day off, I'll do it. And I was literally, I don't think it's because I was rushed, but I was running around the house, and I thought, I don't know how I have this much energy. I didn't sleep at all, I'm running. It was because I was like, things to do, I was running. So I was running around the house doing things.
As you do.
As I do. And I imagine that someone looking at me would think, what the heck is this guy doing? But I was totally cool with it. Did a few things I wanted.
You don't do that because you're a half our age.
All that.
Third.
And so anyway, my tooth was still, going back to the tooth, my tooth was still sore.
Ah, the tooth.
Yeah, tooth. I forgot about the tooth. Tooth was still sore. So this is like nearly a week later. On Monday, I called the dentist that I always go to try and get an appointment to get it checked out. Because I thought, if it's something serious, I want to get it looked at. I have to get my tooth out. So be it. Take more. Just the wisdom, not all my teeth. Because they're coming out at the funny angle, Called them up. They said, we've got an appointment tomorrow, Tuesday. This was like 12:15, I think it was. And Tuesday was the day that was the big day. And I said to my boss, I can take it off. He's like, roll on the north side. My dentist out in Maruka. It's just half an hour in between. He said, I can't really, I need you to be with me. So I was like, okay, when's the next appointment? Wednesday's booked out. I'm like, Wednesday I got the day off. I could do it then, but can't do it then. Thursday at 5:45. I said, okay, Thursday is. I'll do it Thursday. Thursday morning came, was working again after having day off on Wednesday. Was at the first house, had some lunch, and I thought I had a look in the mirror, look at the tooth, and see the white thing that was still there. I thought, okay. I asked for a toothpick, and I got a toothpick, and I was picking at it. And all of a sudden, this lump came out. Took a photo of it. It looked like a lentil, like similar size to a lentil. It wasn't a lentil. It probably would have been a bit of almond when I was chewing on the almonds. And it stunk. It stunk real bad. I had to inquire.
Thanks for the detail.
Yeah. I was having a look at it and I was like, wow. I stuck it through on the end of the tooth and looking at it and I took a photo of it and I'm like, cool.
Oh, believe you got the photo with you?
I do. I'm not going to show it. But anyway, I came out. Yeah. I came out and I thought maybe that was the reason it was sore. I went to the dentist that afternoon and he looked at it and it was all good. Sprayed with the antiseptic and gave me some antibiotics. And it's all good now. It feels a lot better now. So that was an answer to prayer because I prayed about it as well. That was one of the things that was kind of getting through. Answer to prayer about safety, being blessing, travel, tooth, another praise point. And then I can't remember what else. Oh yeah, another thing on Wednesday. Going back all over the place. My stories. I haven't written it out. Um,
Well, you have had a toothache, so it's
Oh yeah, I had a brain injury as well. That makes me look like a place. I needed a part for a vehicle that I bought. I don't know if I should have bought it or not, but I bought it. So I was talking to Lester earlier. Things that we do that God gives us out of the desires of our heart, but not that's His desires or not. It's a bit iffy.
like the Cornetto, huh?
Yeah, like the Cornetto, exactly. And the part that I need is only a small little part, and it will help the speedometer work again because it doesn't work at the moment. I called up a few places and tried Holden. $380 they reckon to get this part. I'm like, that's a lot of money for me. I don't necessarily want to pay $380 for a part that's no bigger than like this big. And I said, oh, I'll try your hand at some records. So I called up maybe like 10, 15 records. There was a fair few. I got the one at like Sandgate, which is on the north side of Brisbane. Oh, we have a part, $75. I'm like, oh, okay, well, a little bit far for me. Oh, well, whereabouts do you live? So, Chambers Flat. Oh, okay. Try Archerfield, there's a place there, Southside 4x4 and parts and stuff. Okay. Called them up. Yeah, we got one, $65. A lot better than $380. Went and got it that afternoon, and it's just, yeah, all these things that work out. There's all these little things, as Ruben was talking about, just that you forget. And I had forgotten, but I just thought, I was sitting there, I was reflecting, and just all the times that God's protected me and blessed me with different opportunities to be a blessing to other people.
Amen.
It's awesome. It's awesome to look back on and remember. So, and yeah, all the answered prayers in regards to teeth and other things as well.
We're all blessed to have you here with us.
Yes,
Liam.
it's great to be here. I won't be taken away by Pathfinders. Sorry, Pathfinders.
You've already found the path, that's all right.
I love you, Lord my God.
Yeah. Thank you, Liam, sharing some of your stories. All right, Lavanya, we're getting a roll
You're on the roll.
here.
I have a story about a pet, guinea pig pet that we have. It actually belongs to Luca's best friend, but she's kind of part of our family because we've taken care of her also, and we visit her once a week. And her name's Myrtle. And Luca's best friend Edie was carrying her, and she dropped her. And the guinea pig was in a lot of pain and squealing, and obviously his friend was devastated because she had dropped her. So they took her to the vet, and she had broken her spine. They did an x-ray, and she wasn't able to move her back legs or walk or anything. And the vet said, there isn't anything we can do. She, it doesn't look good, and maybe best to euthanize. And the mum said, no, I'm not going to do that. We'll take her home. And obviously, and we began to pray.
Yeah.
We immediately began to pray. Edie began to pray, her mum began to pray, Luke and I began to pray, and a couple of our friends. And we really needed this prayer to be answered for the kids. We really needed it to be answered, not only for Myrtle, but for Luca and Edie. It was really important. And so they just took care of it, put her in a special place, and, kept her away from the other guinea pigs, and just loved her up a lot. We kept praying every day, and 1 week later, she moved her back legs.
Wow.
And so that was really hopeful, very exciting, and very uplifting. And I think it was another week, another 5 days, she started taking a few little steps. And they were due, so we made an appointment to go back to the vet, and I said, can we come? Because we want to, share the good news, and we want to tell her what happened. And we want to be part of, sharing. We know why this happened. We know why this healing occurred. So we all went together with her in the little hutch and piled in, the four of us. And she had the same vet that first saw Myrtle, which was beautiful too, beautifully orchestrated. And she brought her out, but they weighed her, and she said, they usually lose weight when they've had a trauma like this, when they've been ill. And she put on a scale, and she said, oh, wow, she's gained weight. That's unusual. And we were like, and then she said, okay, well, let's lay her out here. And she put her on the floor, and it was very slippery. It was a slippery surface, so there's no way she's going to start walking on a surface like that. And we were all like, come on, Myrtle, walk. So then we put out a little vet. The vet's just watching, and the mother was explaining what's happened, and her recovery and what we've done. And so we put out a little blanket so she'd have a little more traction. And then sure enough, she starts to take a few steps and she walks around a little bit. And the vet said, "What did you do?" And Hannah said, "I did this." And then I said, "And we prayed a lot." And then Hannah said, "Yes, we did. Constant prayer." And the vet said, "Oh wow, okay, yeah." And she's just watching. And then at the end of it, she said, "Well, looks like you've got a miracle." And it was so beautiful to hear it out of her mouth, not ours. And it was very beautiful for the kids to witness that and to have that to testify. So, yeah, we had a wonderful miracle last week. Praise God.
That's huge.
Isn't that huge? Yeah. And so now she's walking slowly, but she walks. And by the way, my friend had already arranged in her mind. She's like, okay, if she can't walk, I'm going to make her a wheelchair. She designed this little beautiful unit for her, and she's perfectly prepared to take care of her. But now she's walking around, and it's just, it's a beautiful, beautiful story, beautiful miracle. Yeah. Isn't it amazing? Yeah.
God is real.
Euthanize. The option was euthanize her, was what the vet said. And then she said, "You have a miracle. You've had a miracle." So
where are the pictures?
I did take some. Yes, I did.
Show us next time.
Yes, okay.
I got pets for you too. Awesome. And I'll bring my water. That's huge. You heard it here first. So this is that's amazing. 2 pet stories. I was sitting in the lounge room a few weeks ago, and this little finch just flew into the window like so hard, and he just fell into the ground, and he was still. And we were like, "Whoa, what was that?" And there's a little finch on the ground, and I opened the door and went out, and he was just like, I didn't know, but he was asleep anyway. And after a few minutes, we picked him up. A friend picked him up, and then he I can't remember the exact details, but slowly he woke up. He sat up, and it was like, has he got a broken back or what's wrong with him? And then we put a drop of water on our finger, and he drank a tiny bit, and then in the end I got a box, and we just thought like this. He's shell shocked because he just stood there. He could stand up, and that was it. And then we put him in the box with a night, and then I prayed, and then we covered the box, and then the next morning we woke up, and I'd forgotten about the finch, beautiful little finch, and came in and thought, I wonder how the finch is, and took the blanket off, and he just popped out like this, and then stood there, and that was outside, and he stood there. So he stood there for about 5 minutes, and then so I walked over to do something in the garden, and then I looked across, and then the other birds were singing, so he started to pick up the sound, and he still stood there for another maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden he flew just to the edge of the balcony, like 2 meters. I thought, he's well, he's alive, and then he's well. And then about 5 minutes later, he flew off into the banana trees, and so we had a visit of a finch. But my other story, which I think was a miracle, because I was riding my bike down to Ballina, and I was going through the rural properties, and I came around the corner pretty quick, and there was all these ducks down, maybe 100 metres away, and as I rode towards them, they all took off. There was like half a dozen of them. They all took off together and flew away except for one, and he was walking, and then as I got closer, he started to run, and there was fences either side of us, so he was running, and I was getting closer and closer and slowing down. And I thought, this poor duck's, it's like 2 minutes later, he's run about 100 metres. And I thought, he's going to have a heart attack if he doesn't, I better stop. And he kept going. I got a bit flustered and thought, I've got to get to town. I've got to overtake this duck, but I couldn't get round him because of the fence. So overtaking lane, I didn't want to stress him out going past him. We thought overtaking lane would need one. Yeah. And then in the end, I got a little bit frustrated, and I said to the duck, just get up and fly in Jesus' name, and he just took off, and man, he banked around the corner and flew away. I'm telling you not a joke either. He flew away, and he did this big arcing turn, and I was like, I tell you, it was true. I was just like, whoa. I sort of said it not in anger, but in frustration. I just like shouted at the duck and said, "Go on, get up and float and do this." I had nothing else to do. That's overtaking life. He did this big banking turn and flew away. And I was like, yeah. So thanks, buddy. Not prayer answered. And I wish my testimony was so simple. You going to come back later for that, or are you going to come back later? Yeah, all right. Yeah, watered down version. Yeah. All right. Anyone else, or should we go offline? Yep. I think we're done. All right. Sorry for those online. You can always come and join us, those in Australia, live audience. Every second and fourth Sabbath, we'll be here. But thank you for joining us, and we'll be back on the second Sabbath in March. Yep. Okay.